Hi, and welcome to HUR at Home. It's music night, and tonight we've got something so special. I love these guys. Well, first of all, you know that WHUR is on the road to celebrating 50 years. And in order to do that, we have to acknowledge the people who made it so special all this time, past and present. So we're going to talk to a couple of colleagues who, they're always WHUR family. And we're just going to kick it. We're going to talk about the good old days and laugh a little bit. And so since I said that, let's get started with our first guest, George Wilborn.
Hey, what's going on, Angela Stribling? How are you?
I miss that face. I miss that smile. Pearly whites.
I brush my teeth 32 times a day. So
get them all. Each one.
And it takes one to know one, because you have a great smile and the energy to match. And I will be on the record right now as I heard that I am now the longest and oldest tenured employee at WHUR, that I've been there longer. Currently, I'm still currently there with the Frank and Nina show on, some Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And so apparently I'm the oldest now. And I don't know if that's true or not, but certainly they don't mean by age. I think they mean
by age or by the, well, we'll see, because as we get closer, so every Thursday, we're bringing in different personalities. So right now, we'll see if that bar changes. So George is claiming it. We're giving it to you. Longest running.
I'm not claiming it. I just heard that that's from a very high source in the WHUR family that I just spoke with yesterday, that was the case.
Okay, so we're going to bring in somebody who I'm going to see what he has to say about it.
Okay, because he might be.
Everybody loves this man. I mean, they're still talking about him in the DMV as if he was just there yesterday, including myself. I love me some Tony Richards, and I know you do too.
Ooh, I do.
In here, Tony.
And Tony Richards loves him some Angela Stribling. What up, Strib?
I know, right?
Oh my goodness. You know what? We've been talking about this, but we've been trying to keep it a secret just for the surprise element to let people know that you're coming. And then we kind of had to say, okay, fine.
Right.
It's George and Tony. But you two, I would love for you to just, I guess for starters, tell everybody when you started. Now, George is saying that he thinks he's been there the longest.
I may be.
Well,
Maybe.
I can confirm that George is, in fact, the oldest employee at WHUR.
No. First of
He can
all,
have that. I don't want that. He can
first
have
of all, Tony knows that he is the oldest.
Oh,
I just worked there longer. I worked there longer. I'm probably one of still the youngest employees of WHUR, even though I've worked as long as I have.
You are the one who brought it up, brother. Own it. It's yours, man. You can have it, okay?
now he's the youngest. He went from, okay. Well, you know what? From there, let's talk about, I guess, with you two together. The last time you were at the radio station, it was the Tony, Mo, and George show when you two were working together. But that wasn't the first time you were paired up.
No.
Whoever wants to go first, when was the first time you two worked together at WHUR?
Well, since George got to HUR first, I'll let him kick it off. Go ahead, George.
It's only fair.
Well, when we first started working at WHUR, was not the first time we worked together. We first started working together in Chicago at V103. And we did a morning show called the morning. It was
the V Crew.
The V Crew. The morning V Crew. It was myself, Tony Richards.
Because you're so young, you're forgetting things.
Spirit, I want to high five you right now.
Hey, look, either that or the reefer.
It could be the weed.
Because I didn't have more weed than age. but we worked together in Chicago with Bonnie DeShawn, and that was the start really of my radio career. So then we moved on to DC, where I had replaced Monique at the time, and John Mons came in and TC Bandit, And then John Mons left and was replaced by Tony Richards. And he and I was reunited in DC again. And then we went on and on for a couple more shows, but we've worked together and worked like brothers. And it's almost amazing. And it's almost cliche-ish is that in this business or any business, you rarely run into that person that is just effortless, you know, and that you just get each other right off the bat. And it's just seamless when you get on the air and when you're off the air. And that's really been he and I journey from my perspective since now decades. And he'll tell you that because he's older than I am.
Go ahead, Tony. He's making you the OG.
Yeah, George.
Oh, he definitely my OG. He brought me up in this game, you know.
But like George said, it's kind of very rare that you run into somebody that you're paired up with and just have that instant chemistry. So George and I became working partners, and we also became brothers. So we were like brothers on the air and brothers off the air. You know,
Yeah.
We just had that immediate chemistry, and that's why we've lasted so long. That's why we've been friends for so long. That's why we've been brothers for so long. You know, and it will never ever change. So,
and that's why we've been number one so many times on so many different stations and so many different markets as well, because the listeners know it. You know, the DMV and specifically DC has been, I mean, it's been remarkable in regards to my radio career. I've been doing comedy, obviously, for decades as well. I mean, 30 plus years of doing comedy, and my radio career is right behind that. Yeah. Even though it started in Chicago, man, DC, I've lived there multiple times, and I've worked for WHUR 6 different times for 6 different shows. Wow. And so that area and that particular city has done more for my radio career in particular than any other place. And even though Chicago is my hometown, DC is my home away from home.
What you're saying about WHUR, I get it. I mean, I think we all do. It's a heritage station.
It is.
And I've worked at many radio stations, and there's no place like HUR. And Tony, when you were doing your Saturday show, it was like, Darlene Jackson and I used to just talk about you. Your relationship with the DMV community was like something that, we hadn't witnessed.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? Just the love fest that you had and you were able to just create with your vibe. Talk about that. And
it was so easy in DC. I echo both of you, because DC, and George and I have said this year after year after year, DC has the best listeners anywhere.
Hands down. Hands down.
We are not just saying that. We mean that.
Hands down.
Listeners, hand down, than any other city I've ever lived in, worked in, anything.
No doubt.
So they made it a lot easy for me to do that, because whatever I put out, they responded. So I mean, man, Strip, you brought up Saturday. You take me back with that show.
Yes.
That was the best, most fun show I've ever done on radio, man. I used to love doing that Saturday because, like you said, it was so community. It was so just me and the listeners of DC, you know what I mean? And WHUR allowed that, you know what I'm saying? They made room for us to be able to do that and allow listeners to call up. So it was like Mr. C kicked it off on Saturday. Ooh. I came in right behind him. I mean, it was a party on Saturdays. We would shut the city down, man. I absolutely love it. And to this day, I still miss that show. Yeah. I would still do that Saturday show now. I miss it so much.
Come back on Saturday, get on a plane.
There you go. There you go.
Make it work. New fly jock. Make it work. And, George, you mentioned, something. I mean, you are a comedian. You're out there on the road, and you're so funny. I was blessed to catch a couple of your shows. You're like legit, like really funny.
I appreciate that.
Belly ugly laugh funny.
Yeah, that's the kind of funny I want. I don't go for you chuckling. He's humorous. Oh, no, I mess up your makeup. You know, I want your stomach hurt. If you got a stomach ache, don't come to my show without taking care of your business first, because it's gonna make it real uncomfortable for you. You know.
And so marrying, being a comedian and marrying a radio show, that's got to be a match made in heaven. Or is it difficult? You know, just you're having just the comedy, because it's different. You're there in a studio. You don't have the immediate gratification of the audience.
Well, you don't and you do. So
Right.
I'll humbly say that for me, it is not difficult, and clearly, and it has not been difficult. But I never sought radio out. I never, sent in one demo tape. I never went to hone my craft as a radio personality. Radio sought me after, so it accepted me, flaws and all, and I was willing to give my audience all of me, the flaws and all, and that's what I believe it endeared me to the audiences that I eventually ended up entertaining on a national level. With Michael Basin several times, and with Doug Banks. And those things for me is what I believe is why I do radio well. And I never brought the comedian trying to do radio into the fold of radio. I just brought George Wilborn myself. I'm not talking in third person. I just brought me, to radio, and and like I do the stand-up stage. I don't have a persona. It's just you got me, the stress reliever, flaws and all.
Yeah, but maybe that's that's your thing. I mean, you don't change. Tony, do you think that's the same thing? If someone were to say, all right, what is it? You're a legendary DJ, and people, they just love you. They worship you. I saw it myself. There was just, it's that thing, that it factor that you can't manufacture. And
you can't make it up. You can't really put a label on it. It's just there. You know what I mean? And like George was saying, one of the reasons why he's still one of my favorite comedians is because George is a natural at it. And George is truly the best at it. When it comes to radio, hands down, George is the very best at it, because he doesn't need that, like we were saying, that audience. Normally when a comedian tells a joke, they got to hear the audience reaction. George already knows that they're laughing,
because it's funny. I already know, because it's funny. You ain't got to be in the room with me to know it's funny. Damn it, I said it. I know it's funny before I said it. And then Washington, D.C. makes it so easy because they don't play around. D.C. don't play around. You know what I'm saying? You got to know what you're talking about. You got to be funny. Right. They don't care who you are, where you came from, what city, how big your star on the Walk of Fame is. Yeah. They want you to come correct. And if they love you, they love you for life. That's right. If they don't mess with you, I don't care.
Mess with you for life. That's it.
So are there any stories from WHUR that come to mind?
Ones that we can tell?
That you can tell. We're all grown here. I think the kids are asleep. When you think about the WHUR audiences, and you both have been with us for a long time. Wow. There had to be some things that, maybe didn't go the way you thought they would, or what surprised you? Or
I'm going to tell you what surprised me. What surprised me was once, and it worked out very well for them, when Tony and I think TC Bandit, we were on in the morning, I believe.
The morning show, the real DC morning show.
And we were killing. We were doing so great. DC loved us. The DMV loved us. We were working hard. We was in the community. And, Jim Watkins, the GM at the time, I know he had a real, decision to make, but a tough decision. He went with the Steve Harvey morning show, and I was on the road doing comedy, going back and forth from DC to the road. So I came back and we had a promotion. I asked TC and Tony, hey, what's going on? We was at, I forget what, we was at some historical place in DC, was the old post office or somewhere. We were doing a live
pavilion. Yeah.
Yes, we were doing a live promotion there. And I came up right off the plane, and they must have heard the news already that Steve was coming in to replace us. Because when I got at the post office, It looked like someone that stole all the mail. Like there was this was the last day. The post office was closing. I mean, it was so somber. I said, "Hey, what's going on?"
Oh, that is so sad.
And we found out that Steve Harvey was replacing our ass.
Yeah, like, oh no. George was all rearing to go. Come on, let's do it.
No, wait a minute. In fact, I think they replaced Michael Basin was going to replace us as well on the show. I got on the plane and I called Michael. I said, "Hey man, you need a comedian?"
Right away.
Smart move.
And the funny part is to tell you how great the DC listeners are. Man, the DC listeners reacted to that when they took us off that morning show. They were hot.
Yeah.
I mean, I've never seen or ever in my career even heard of listeners picketing a radio station on your behalf.
No.
I mean, they staged marches and they picketed in front of the radio station.
Yeah, they did.
And it just really humbled us a lot, you know, because to see somebody do that for you, that you meant that much to them.
Yeah, at least he did that for us. It didn't do no good. We didn't get our job back.
Well, no, George, it did do some good.
It did, because you both came back.
No, it did. No. I mean, with that job.
Okay, that ship sailed.
That job was done.
It was like, well, let's see, we got something else for you.
Yeah, but they brought us back, George.
They did bring us back.
Show. I wound up with Steve Harvey in the morning.
Absolutely.
So, you know.
Absolutely.
That's right. That's
absolutely.
Right. I love the comments. You know, we're not ignoring you. We really appreciate you showing up. Isabella says hi from Dubai.
Hello.
Wow.
Hello.
My favorite place, Dubai.
I have never been.
Oh,
when I go to Dubai, I'm coming to hang out with you, Isabella.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What a beautiful name.
Hi, Roger says WHUR has always produced outstanding talents. Thank you, Roger. Monica says hello. Veronica. Tangi says, where's TC? Where is TC?
TC is still in DC. She's doing marketing for someone, some big. I think the government, as a matter of fact. So, yeah, as a matter of fact, she always says that she now has one of those good government jobs.
Good for her.
And she was wonderful too. I love TC Bandit. She was just fantastic, and she was like a sister to us. I haven't seen her in years, but it's good to hear she's doing well.
That's beautiful.
TC, I've been with her for so many years, man. I mean, even like George said, you know, I was with George in Chicago. I was with TC in Philadelphia. I was with TC in Houston. I was with TC in Norfolk, Virginia. So we've been around, man.
I love it. Muter says, it's great seeing you, Tony Richards. You were always terrific on Saturdays. Best wishes.
Hey,
Aww.
I love
Tony
it.
was everywhere.
The pelvic thrust in the morning. Is that
bam, 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 bam. Hey, man, you know what time it is.
I forgot about the pelvic thrust.
7-Eleven. At 7 o'clock, 7-Eleven every morning. Bam, bam. I would wake up DC with the pelvic thrust. You understand me?
It's time for the pelvic thrust. Bam,
bam, bam. I knock this Zoom out. If I don't want to cause no problem, I knock the focus off right now. But
one time
go for it, George. Do it.
Bam, bam. No, I told you I don't dress from the waist down, so I can't stand all the way up.
Actually, I think we all kind of admit it. We're just wearing tops for the show.
This whole screen to get dark.
Oh, George.
One time we did the show live from Disney World. And George had to do the pelvic thrust live at Disney World. Right?
And guess what? I did it.
I know you did.
Listen, George did it, and it became one of the most requested things at Disney World. Every year we went, man, what time is it? 7-Eleven, the thrust with George Wilborn. They all the cameramen, all the workers would gather around to watch George do the thrust.
I had everybody doing it. The dwarfs. I had Minnie. I had Mickey. Everybody would do it.
Mickey and Minnie doing the pelvic thrust. At 7, what was it? 7 o'clock.
Yep.
Absolutely. Minnie got a job at Magic City in Atlanta right after I did.
Man, y'all got me crying.
See what you do for careers, Drew.
Never know when one door closed, another one opened.
Exactly.
That's right. That's right. Amen to that.
Oh my gosh. No, I'm not going to say that. I was going to say, won't he do it? But no.
He will.
What do you do?
God works in mysterious ways.
Quite a mystery. How do I get us out of this? Oh my God. But you know what? You talked about going to Disney World. Is that something that you kind of miss from the radio station? We would do those.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. I remember doing the world tour. I wasn't back with WHUR, but I went on this trip to South Africa. And Tony Richards was the host.
Yes.
And there were these cute young girls there, and they decided they were going to bungee jump. Tony was a single man at the time.
Yep.
And I'll let you tell the rest of the story, Tony.
Yeah, and I got there and I chickened out because we were jumping off the second highest bungee jump in the world.
Victoria Falls.
Victoria Falls. Over Victoria Falls. And I got there and I saw it and I was like, you know what? I'm not doing this. But then, like Angela said, there were two young girls with us and then they jumped. So I'm like, okay, dude, you got to man up. You can't let them just, jump and you don't jump. So I walked right up there. And the thing at Victoria Falls, when you're ready to bungee jump, they're playing they're getting you ready, putting equipment on you, and they have your back turned to where you're gonna jump. So they're dancing. Hey man, how you doing? Trying to calm you down. You all right, man? Where you from? I'm from DC. All right, man. Yeah, man, we're gonna jump. It's gonna be hot. Do this. When we turn you around, whatever you do, don't look down. Just look at the horizon. Don't look down. My dumb ass.
That's the first thing you do.
They turned me around. I looked down and I said, no. And I'm holding on to the rails. I'm like, no, I'm not jumping. And so they count you down. They say 1, 2, 3, bungee. And you jump. They said 1, 2, 3, bungee. And I stood there. They did it again. 1, 2, 3, bungee. I stood there. And the third time when they did it, they said 1, 2, 3, bungee, and they kicked me off.
Oh my no! Oh
no! They kicked me in my back, and I just jumped right off.
Oh my God!
You're gonna jump today.
But I gotta tell you, that was the greatest thing that I've ever done in my life. I would do it again.
Well, you didn't do it.
Well, next time I want to do it on my own.
The guy behind you ever did in his life.
Oh my gosh!
They were saying 1, 2, 3. You were saying not me.
I'm not doing it. Second time, nope, not ready.
I'm glad they kicked me off, man. That was a great thing to do. I love it. I'm glad.
Yeah. No, but you hit on it. You hit on it back in that day, and WHUR was no one did trips better than that. We went to places that that the DMV deserves. We went to Egypt, and I've been to South Africa 3 times. And
you went to Australia, didn't you, George?
Went to Australia, and there are places like that the area that this radio station serves. It demands a lot more than just the wonderful trips to Disney, but it
and the people who go on those trips. I met some really great friends.
Man, incredible people.
Yes.
Yeah, there were some who were regulars. They would do whenever HUR was going, and then there were some who just wanted to broaden their horizons, had never gone out of the country, and said, you know what, I'm going to do it like this.
And then you had a couple kooks. Let's not leave them out, Angela.
There were some kooks. Tony had his own special kooks, calling him baby and going. They took the trip just because they knew he was going.
Hey, it's some kooks who got money too, so they travel along with us.
What?
Right.
Kooks keep money. What are you talking about? I think they got a special bank they go to. The Kooks Reserve. They just go in. They ain't got to show ID or nothing. They just They retina scan them. Oh yeah, your ass. How much you want?
George, come on,
How much you
man.
want?
Come on, man.
Oh my gosh.
You know,
Okay.
George is right. Those trips were the best, man. I mean, Angela, like when we went to South Africa, what did we do? Like 7 countries in 10
Oh my
days or
gosh.
something
I
like
did
that?
like 3 safaris.
It was amazing.
It was so amazing.
Yeah.
We went to all these places, got to see all these wonderful places that I had, only dreamed of.
Sure.
And it was with this cool travel agency who just took care of all of the
That's right.
accommodations. It's all first class accommodations. You don't
Yeah.
have to worry about anything.
Shout out to Gene and Javon Harley. They
Gene and
are the best.
Javon Harley, absolutely.
Advantage International.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They're the best.
That's right.
you're the best.
Yeah.
So, guys, I'm so happy to see your faces and to hear that you're doing well. I think that you were paired up the last time with the, what was it, the Rick and Sasha show?
Yes.
Why so quiet? So, okay. Okay, well.
Yes.
Okay.
So, Angela, that's what you get. Yes.
I think that's all I'm getting. I think we're moving on. So,
Hey, listen, it was a great show, and
It was. We're just playing. We're just kidding.
People know about radio and how radio go. Rick is great. Sasha's great. I got a chance to team back up with Tony in that experience, and in the ATL, and so radio is what it is. That's what makes it's such a unique business, and a lot of people know that it's a cutthroat business. They tell radio people, never unpack your bag because you never know when you're leaving. That's something I learned years ago when Barry Mayo hired me years ago. And for WHUR to be the type of station that kind of goes against the grain of the regular radio protocol and how things usually go. Because if you have talent and if you fit into what WHUR has and for their listeners, then you almost have a home for life, and that's unheard of in radio. So that's why you have the level of loyalty and respect that you have from the alumni and for people who worked there before, may not even no longer work there, but just the memories and the commitment to doing the right thing for the radio personality is something that WHUR and Jim Watkins and Sean Plater and the people that I've worked under, Max Myrick, those people, Jeanette and all of those people from the production to Darlene and all of the things that they do is just unparalleled and unmatched with anyone else.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
And think about it. I was there from 2004 to 2017. That's unheard of in a lot of places with a lot of companies.
Absolutely.
I had the pleasure of being there 2004 to 2017. And every one of those years was a great year.
Yeah.
Hey, George, when do you start?
What now?
Tony's giving up numbers.
First of all, I'm bad with years. I'm bad with years. I tell you that right now. I'm bad with years. I tell my woman and my kids that I'm bad with years. My son be like, how long we been? I said, son, I'm bad with years. Me and your mama met a long time ago. I'm bad with years. You keep up with your age.
But I can tell you, I know George started, it was 1900.
I know it had to be
in ye old year of
1900 and something,
OG. Oh my God. I love you guys.
We love you back.
We love you right back, Angela.
This is so much fun.
You are also just a testament to the hires that this radio station makes.
Mm-hmm.
They really do try to seek out the best, for their audience and for the people that they serve in the DMV. and you have done an outstanding job. You know, all the things that you've done, you've always been the best person to work with, you know, even when things were really tough and we were covering really tough times or really tough
we were
stories.
rolling.
Got to keep a smile on your face. You have done that. And just, you know, we just wish you all the best and the most success. You know, you're such a class act and really, really a pro at what you do.
Thank you, George. You know what? I wish the same for you. And I'm going to give you both a single shot there. And I want you to shout out what you're doing, any words, you know, to WHUR, getting ready to celebrate 50 years, whatever you want to say, and end it with your social media so those who aren't connected can connect.
Go ahead, Tom.
So you want Tony to go first? Okay.
I just want to start by shouting out everyone at WHUR because you all were a part of the greatest years of my life working at that radio station. I want to shout out, thank you so much to Jim Watkins, man. Jim brought me to WHUR. I remember the day Jim flew out to Chicago after hearing about me so much from George and also TC and even my first program director there, Dave Dickinson. And so Jim flew out, we met, we talked, and Jim brought me in to do mornings at WHUR. So thank you to Jim Watkins. I cannot thank you enough, man, for what you've done for my career. I got to shout out just everybody, the entire staff, Darlene Jackson, Renee Nash, Bill back in the office, taking care of the finances and everything, all the news staff, Taylor Thomas. Thank you so much. Thank you to my girl, Tracy Luttrell. And I'm so proud of the guys that they've, one of the things that I love about WHUR is you can grow through the ranks. So I've watched young guys like Sean Plater and Big Steve Robinson. These guys came in just as interns who graduated from Howard University, interns at the radio station, and now they've worked their way up. And these guys are running the radio station and killing the joint. So I cannot be more proud of those guys. You know, I'm so proud of you. And lastly, I just really, you know, any names I forgot, you know, I love you all, but I really got to shout out, you know, and God rest his soul, Patrick Ellis. Patrick did so much for me. Patrick and I had a special bond. I miss him still to this day. He was the absolute best. He was the historian of WHUR. When I first came in there, he told me so many stories about the legacy and the years of that radio station. So he helped prepare me to go on that microphone, and we were friends until the end, man. I love you with all my heart. God rest your soul. To your beautiful family, God bless you all. And that's it for me, man. My social media never changes. I am Tony Richards. I'm right there on the Instagram, you know, all the regular, the Twitter, the Facebook. Shout out to my very good friend, Angela Stribling. We've been friends through the years. I remember the first time you came to the radio station, or rather came back, and you said, man, Tony, I just got to get in. I just want to get in and be a part of the station. And look where you are now. Look how you have grown. And it's because of your professionalism. It's because you're polished. It's because you love DC. And you will always be a part of that radio station and a very big part of it. And that's why you're doing exactly what you're doing now. So thank you, guys. DC, I love you forever, man. That's why I'm still a part of DC. That's why I still come back and forth doing things in the nation's capital. It's in my blood. I can't get it out my blood. That's my second home. Shout out to my girl, TC. I love you for life, my partner for life, and my boy, George Wilborn, G-Dub. I'm out, y'all. Peace.
Oh, man, that was beautiful. You got me crying over here, Tony. Oh, wait, Tony, though, before you go, you mentioned Patrick Ellis. He used to say, it's like he'd give the time and say, like in his Sunday show, what was that story about? Can you share that?
It was Patrick used to tease me because I'm into watches. So he would always tease me about my watches. And so he started doing that on Sunday. It would be, his joke was, hey, Tony Richards, it's 10:30. Like, I don't know it's 10:30. I know it's 10:30 because I got watches on me all the time. But that became a ritual that he did on his show every
Sunday.
single Sunday. And for Patrick to do that, that just shows you the love that we have for one another. You know, Patrick was in total control of his show. He could say what he wanted, shout out who he wanted. And out of all the people to shout out, Patrick shouted me out every single Sunday on his highly rated #1 across the board radio program. Patrick's ratings killed everybody's ratings. So Patrick helped me become who I became in DC because he shouted me out and showed me love every single Sunday. So that's where that came from. That's the story behind that.
That's pretty. And Tony, you mentioned I was with WHUR a very long time ago, and then I had moved to New York. And when I came back, I wanted to get back with WHUR. And you were so cool because when I met you, you were like, yeah, come on the show. You invited me on your radio show. And I think all those steps helped pave the way for me getting back to WHUR. So
couldn't have been that long ago, or maybe you're the oldest.
Oh no, darling, you got that title. That's not me.
You said such a long time ago. That's a lot of longs.
You know I exaggerate. You know I always exaggerate.
Now she exaggerates.
And on that note, like George, tell everybody what he's got going on and your social.
I'm just blessed to be still, a working comedian. I've also blessed to have never been, in my opinion, and apparently other people watching my shows now, never been funnier in the 35 years I've been doing comedy. So I'm back on the road. Just got off I'm on a tour called the Bring Your Mama Tour. It's a worldwide tour. Okay, it's not worldwide, but it's all around the country, and it's a lot of comedians. Okay, there ain't a lot of comedians, it's just me. But bring your mama. You know what I'm saying? Because your mama remember me. She remember me from Def Jam, BET, Showtime at the Apollo. So luckily, after the pandemic, take all of the work off of comedians. I've been blessed to be back on the road now doing shows. Got Charlotte coming up. I've been to Baltimore, one of my favorite places. I've been back, got a chance to go to Chicago, Chandler, Arizona. And I got a bunch of other cities that's coming up. I'll be back in Arizona on New Year's. So that part is fantastic. And I got some television and film projects that obviously got put on hold with the pandemic that are back in motion that I'm excited about. But I'm also on with the one and only Frank Ski and Nina Brown, on one of the most important stations in this country, and that's WHUR. I'm on with them Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and perhaps you all tune in and know that you'll never know what I'm going to say. It just the stress reliever is just there to relieve your stress in the DMV, and after however many decades, I'm still can be heard on 96.3 WHUR. And I believe for me, after, I wasn't out for all 50 years, but I've been there for a few of them. And all of them have been very, very satisfying and gratifying for me.
That's beautiful. That is so awesome. And your social media?
My social media is The Stress Reliever or The Stress Reliever, depending on what school you went to. So just hit me up at The Stress Reliever, and at my IG and my YouTube page is George Wilborn /YouTube or YouTube /George Wilborn.
And I know HUR is turning 50 years old. Thank you to all the listeners for supporting this great radio station for 50 years.
Absolutely.
And let's just be clear. George has been there, I think, 47 of those.
Exactly. That's how we're going to end the night.
Yes,
clear.
Yes. Okay? And Tony knows that because he was a part of the welcoming committee that welcomed me there, which I can't thank you enough. I can't believe I forgot about that. Thank you for welcoming me to the family.
Oh my gosh. And shout out to all of our viewers and listeners who took the time to comment. It wasn't wasted on us. We've been watching.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
And guys, thank you. This has been so much fun. WHUR on the road to 50. We're going to have more of this every Thursday. We'll have WHUR alum, and we'll just talk about the good old days and the good new days. And George has a look on his face like there's something.
Shout out to the soul food place that I used to go to all the time, right there on 14th Street, 14th Ave. Shout out to them. Shout out to our place right there. We get the hot dogs from all the time. Y'all, I love DC. Y'all make sure y'all go to these eateries. Eat your food.
Eat your food.
And shout out to Miss Pat holding it down at the front desk.
Miss Pat.
Miss
She's
Tat
so
Tat.
funny. I love her. Oh man, we miss you guys so much, and I'm so happy that we did this. Obviously, your listeners
too.
miss you as
I am
well.
too.
Have a
It
good night.
is.
Thank you all for watching us, and we'll see you next week right here on HUR at Home.